Is Bo Nix a lock for Rookie of the Year, or is there still a good bit of competition from Jayden Daniels and maybe a mystery player? We're diving into that competition, breaking it down, and also looking at where the Broncos stand after Week 11, and it all starts now. R-O-Y. Todd, it doesn't necessarily have the same ring as MVP, as the MVP chant.
No, I think it's R-O-T-Y, right?
R-O-T, well, when it's spelled, when people abbreviate, they just do R-O-Y, but you're right, it would be like R-O-T-Y.
Yeah.
Or just R-Y, if you're getting rid of like, rookie year. This is his rookie year, so R-Y is a fact.
Yep.
Will Bo Nix be the Broncos Rookie of the Year this year? We're going to break down the DNVR Broncos podcast where Henry's not feeling well, so it's Super Bowl 50 champ Todd Davis. Zach Stevens, you're here behind the camera here today. Todd, who would have thought 2 months ago we would be having this conversation about Bo Nix legitimately being in the conversation, maybe even the front runner for Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, I think things have changed really quickly, and Bo Nix has progressed a lot faster than anyone expected. So I'm happy to have the conversation. You asked if he would be the Broncos Rookie of the Year. Absolutely. For the Broncos, he's the Rookie of the Year. Right now, we can go ahead and give him the award. We don't have to see what else happens the rest of the season. But for the entire NFL, I think it's a head-to-head battle with Jayden Daniels. And, I'm optimistic about Bo winning the award.
Yeah, me too, and we're going to dive into it. But 2 months ago, roughly right around 2 months ago, the Broncos were 0-2.
Yep.
Bo Nix had 0 passing touchdowns, 4 interceptions. I would say 6 months ago when we had this conversation, we could all see it happening. In fact, I thought Bo Nix was going to have a better statistical season than Russell Wilson had last year. So what would that be, 27 touchdowns compared to 7 interceptions because Russ was at 26 and 8. I thought he was going to be that good. So I definitely thought he was in the running for Rookie of the Year, matching up with Sean Payton. And then the first 2 weeks, it was like, whoa, at least me, need to change my expectations for what it means to be a rookie quarterback in the NFL. Maybe I had a little too high of expectations for the 6th rookie quarterback taken in this draft. But no, Bo has completely flipped his season around. And now this is a very legitimate conversation, not just with Bo's numbers, but Broncos are 6-5 right now. So last week, Bo Nix was second favorite to win the award, but he wasn't really close in the competition, according to the Vegas odds and our friends over at Bet365, which, by the way, shout out to Bet365, our presenting sponsor. Use the code DNVR365 when you sign up. Place a $10 bet, or deposit $10, place a $5 bet, and you're going to get $150 in bonus bets, plus a Altitude Plus membership courtesy of Bet365. And also, we're live from the Toyota Lounge. I just dived right into the conversation too quickly. I'm excited to get into this, but our Toyota Lounge is brought to you by your local Front Range Toyota stores. But last week, Bo was the second favorite, but it was long shot.
Yeah.
Bo was plus 1,400, according to Bet365, to win Rookie of the Year. That means if you place a $100 bet, you're going to win $1,400. That seems pretty juicy, because Vegas said it's not going to happen. So we'll take your $100, and you're not going to get that money at the end. Where Jayden Daniels was minus 1,400, meaning if you want $100, if you want to win $100, you have to bet $1,400 to win $100. They're saying, man, this thing's wrapped up. I mean, you can give us the $1,400 and we'll give you $100 back, but probably not worth the risk there. And I hope no one did that for Jayden Daniels last week, because the odds have drastically changed. Todd, over at Bet365 right now, when I tell you the odds have drastically changed, Bo Nix is still second favorite. He hasn't taken over Jayden Daniels for this spot yet. But Bo has gone from plus 1,400 to plus 350. What is that? A cut times 4? I think something like that. That is insane in 1 week. And Jayden Daniels' odds have gone from minus 1,400 to minus 500. So if you were to look at this without knowing last week's odds, you'd say, okay, Jayden Daniels still the heavy favorite, and he is still the heavy favorite at minus 500. But boy, did Bo in 1 week cut that gap so much.
Yeah, Bo, he really made a name for himself, I feel like, in the last game. It's funny because I think everybody's coming around, but especially like the guys who make the bets, they start to see what Bo can do. But I still feel like the national media, is a little slow on it. I talked to Ian Rappaport yesterday, and he was saying,
"Oh, big time!"
He was saying that, Bo's name hasn't been mentioned yet as far as like the Rookie of the Year conversation. It still heavily favors Jayden Daniels, and they kind of throw in Malik Neighbors or Brock Bowers. And in my mind, I'm just like, how are we still asleep on this kid? He's playing really good football. He's protecting the football. 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 307 yards. Like, that should have got everybody's attention.
Yep.
But, I think some people are slower than others.
And, man, I was hoping that, I guess this just shows how the national media views the Atlanta Falcons. Because the whole thing about Bo over this past month before this last game was, okay, but yeah, we just saw him get destroyed. Not him, but the Broncos get destroyed by Baltimore. That one was where Jim Nantz was calling the game, and you had Tony Romo. It was nationally broadcast, and that wasn't a good outing for the Broncos. And then the following week, they were so close to beating the Chiefs. Obviously, in Broncos country, we know how close it actually was.
For sure.
But people just look at the box score and say, Broncos put up a good fight against the Chiefs, cover the spread, but lost by 2 points. They haven't beat anyone since. I mean, the New Orleans Saints, that was on national TV, but come on. That was the New Orleans Saints. Even I'll admit, they're bad, or were bad when the Broncos played them. Now they're on a little 2-game win streak, so maybe that win will look a little better. They did beat the Bucs, but now the Bucs have really come back to earth. The Jets are, 3-7 right now, especially after losing this past weekend. So that was what national media was kind of holding back on the Broncos is, well, they haven't beat a legit team. I don't think the Falcons, especially after this past weekend, are Super Bowl contenders. They're a playoff team. They're going to win their division. They're going to make the playoffs. And I wouldn't be shocked if they win a game in the playoffs. They'll lose when they face like the Eagles or the Lions or something, but they could beat one of those 6-7 teams in the NFC. So I thought that would be, especially the way the Broncos won and the performance Bo had. Falcons are still 6-5. They're still a winning team right now. But I guess that just shows the national media doesn't respect the Falcons, because I'm shocked that his name isn't being talked about. I've started to see a couple of national people start to give Bo credit. Chase Daniels, who's obviously he favors the Broncos because he played under Sean Payton. But it's still not there. Like you said, everyone's still not buying in, which is crazy.
It's crazy to me. But I agree. I don't think people really think the Falcons are a really good team. In my opinion, they're a good team. They're a winning team, and nobody has beaten them like the Broncos did. Like, you have to take that into consideration.
Yeah.
They play some good teams, and, they have some losses, but never were they held to 6 points, and never did they get 38 put on them. Like,
no.
Come on, man. And by a rookie quarterback, you got to give him some credit.
Yep, 100%. So is that going to be is the narrative going to be able to change over these next 2 weeks before the Broncos bye? Because this coming week, the Broncos play the Raiders. I'm sure it's like the 5th team at CBS calling that game. The only people that are watching that game is Las Vegas and the Denver market because of how bad the Raiders are. And then the following week, though, as of right now, the Broncos are playing on Monday Night Football. We'll know later today if that game is flexed out of Monday Night Football. The expectation from just talking to people is it's going to continue to stay a Monday Night Football game. We talked about this, I think, because of purely Bo Nix. Yep. Because the Browns are 2-8 right now. No one wants to watch the Browns, but I think people might want to start to watch Bo Nix, and that would be huge, I think, for Bo Nix's case for him to be on Monday Night Football and get to prove himself and show the national audience, because he's had one primetime game, and it was a Thursday night game against the Saints. Monday Night Football is a much bigger audience.
That'll be the biggest game for Bo as far as trying to win this award. Prime time, everybody's watching. He's kind of building, getting better, and he can really put something together. there on Monday Night Football. Everybody wants to see those big plays, those splash plays. Jayden Daniels has been having a good season, but I think that Hail Mary against Caleb Williams, primetime game, that shot him to the moon, you know?
That's a great point.
So you need those type of games, and you need to be able to play in primetime games to really help yourself get propelled when it comes to winning awards.
Todd, when you talk about Caleb or Jayden's, that was a Rookie of the Year moment.
Absolutely.
It was a moment. Bo just had a Rookie of the Year game.
Yep.
We've seen Caleb also have really good games. Before Bo had 85% completion, I think Caleb earlier this year had 87% completion and another 80% completion. So he's had games, and I'm not trying to take away from his great season. But Bo had his Rookie of the Year moment taken from him by the Broncos special teams.
Yep.
And I'm not going to put on Alex Forsyth because the coaches said, man, and clearly the coaching could have done a better job. If that kick goes in, Bo did everything he could have possibly done, to the fact of running out the clock with 5 minutes and 57 seconds left, going all the way down the field, setting up a chip shot 35-yard field goal, even putting the ball on the hash that Will Lutz wanted.
Yep.
If that kick goes in, that's the moment right there. It's a game-winning drive in Arrowhead to give the Super Bowl defending champs their first loss of the season, and it's against Patrick Mahomes. That would have been it. Boom, right there. I think we're looking today, and these odds are about even. We're probably seeing Jayden Daniels plus 100, Bo plus 100.
Yeah, he was definitely robbed in that moment, and that would have meant everything to Bo and his ability to win Rookie of the Year. And then just think about after the game when Patrick Mahomes still comes over and says, hey, you got one, after losing his first loss of the season. It was to Bo Nix. I think it just would have meant that much more. It sucks that he doesn't get that because now he has to find another way to create it. And, Hail Mary against the Raiders, Hail Mary late drive to win the game against the Browns. None of them are the same. You know what I'm saying? Even if you beat the Chargers late or the Chiefs at the end of the year, that was a, one-of-one moment for Bo Nix in his rookie year.
Yep, it was. Man, and it was taken away from him by something that had nothing to do with him. So let's get into the numbers of this, Todd, and see if Jayden Daniels should be the favorite or if his hot start has really been the thing that's propelled him over Bo right now. We're gonna do a little player A, player B, where you're not gonna know who is who here unless you might know. And then we'll see if they're right and continue this conversation after I give a shout out to our friends over at Live Well, because isn't that what we're all trying to do? We're all trying to live well here. And if you want to live well, you can do that with our friends over at Live Well. They've got 25 convenient Colorado dispensary locations with a premium selection and expert service that awaits you. Their knowledgeable, supportive staff are there to help you on your journey. You can visit a Live Well dispensary to learn more about their wide range of selection of cannabis flower, edibles, concentrates, and more. They offer a price match guarantee, and you can also visit them over at livewell.com. That's livewell.com today to reserve your product online for a quick in-store pickup or simply stop by. They can't wait to answer all of your questions about cannabis. And here's a great thing about them. If you mention the code DNVR25 in store, you'll receive 20% or 25% off one regular price item. Restrictions apply. That's code DNVR25 in store to get 25% off.
A shout out to our friends over at Empire Today. If you guys are looking for new floors in your home or business, you got to check out Empire Today. With Empire Today, you get shop-at-home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a price match guarantee. I love Empire Today, not only for the selection of flooring that they do have, but how easy it is to see how your new floors will look in your home. They have a virtual floor designer. It's a great way to see how new floors will look in any space. It's easy. You just snap a picture and instantly see how new floors will look in your room. And that's perfect because Empire Today has a lot of different types of flooring. And if you're indecisive or you want to see all of them and you want to see how they will all look in your home, you have the opportunity to do so. And right now, you can schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use promo code DNVR. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/DNVR for details.
And shout out to our presenting sponsor, Bet365. Use code DNVR365 when you sign up. Looks like YouTube's having some issues right now, so just continue to stay with us. Hopefully they get it figured out. But if you're watching on any other platform, we really appreciate that. And if you are watching on YouTube and making it through this, hit us with a thumbs up. We really appreciate it. Appreciate everyone's support here. We want the stream to be working just fine, and we appreciate you guys willing to stick with us as YouTube figures out their issues. Okay, Todd, let's play a little game here. Let's go through, and really quick, why we're just focusing. What?
Player A.
Player A. You want player A?
No, I'm just.
Oh, yeah, you know. Okay. Your guess is player A. We'll see if you're right. Maybe I thought you would think I would throw Bo's numbers out first, so I switched it up. We'll see. And the reason we're only looking at Jayden Daniels and Bo Nix is, according to Bet365 and the odds right now, it's a two-man race. Jayden Daniels minus 500, like I said. Bo Nix plus 350. Then third, Brock Bowers plus 2,500. So that is way far away from Bo Nix. We can talk about Brock Bowers' numbers in a minute. Brian Thomas Jr. plus 4,000. Marvin Harrison Jr. plus 4,000. Caleb Williams plus 5,000. And the list really just goes on from there. But those guys are all very long shots here. Okay, Todd, do you still think it's player A? I'm going to read you a bunch of stats, and I can read them twice if you want after I read both of them. Player A. 213 passing yards per game, 68.7% completion, 6 turnovers on the season, 99.6 passer rating, 67.8 QBR, 23 sacks, 44 rushing yards per game, and 14 total touchdowns. Player B, 207 passing yards per game, 65.5% completion percentage, 6 turnovers, 89 passer rating, 53 QBR, 18 sacks, 27 rushing yards per game, and 19 total touchdowns. You want to compare it again? Do you want any other stats?
No, I think I heard total touchdowns. It seems like player B had less sacks, but as far as the completion percentage, they were pretty close.
Yep.
Turnovers were the same, both with 6.
Yep.
So because of those numbers, does the second player have more rushing yards too per game?
The player B has 27 rushing yards per game. Player A has 44 rushing yards per game.
Okay. Let's go with wait, who has 27 yards per game?
27 is player B. 44 is player A rushing yards.
Okay. Let's go with player B for the 19 and 6.
For Bo?
That's not Bo. Is it Bo?
Wait, who? Wait,
player B.
Player B is your guess Bo?
Is it Bo?
Is that your guess?
I thought Bo was 14 and 6.
Well, what's your guess?
But that's 14 passing touchdowns, right?
Player B has 19 total touchdowns.
Yeah, let me go player B.
For Bo.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Impressive.
Wow.
Exactly, because that's pretty significant difference right there. 14 total touchdowns for Jayden Daniels. He has 10 passing, 4 rushing, 0 receiving. Bo obviously has 14 passing, 4 rushing, and 1 receiving right there. The only quarterback to do that this year. And you're absolutely right. That is Bo Nix right there. And when I look at these numbers, Todd, I'm not surprised that Jayden Daniels is the favorite right now. And for the entire season, I'm not upset that he's the favorite right now. Now, minus 1,400 last week when Bo was plus 1,400. No, that was way off. And Bo made that very clear this week that was way off and got it a lot closer. I still don't think minus 500 and plus 350 is right for those two. I think it should be closer. But when you look at the entirety of the season, Jayden Daniels has 6 more passing yards per game. That's nothing. That shouldn't impact this. Jayden Daniels has 3% better completion percentage. significant. It's not nothing. It's just like a little favored for Jayden, I would say. The 6 turnovers, both have 6 turnovers. Bo has 6 interceptions. Jayden Daniels has, I think, 3 interceptions and 3 fumbles as well. But a turnover's a turnover, right?
Not exactly.
No, okay.
I think interceptions are worse. But the thing I like about Bo is he hasn't had an interception in a long time. I mean, he had the one against the Ravens that was, like you like to say, not his fault. So you got to go back out, a few more weeks to see one that was like his fault.
Do you want to say it's not his fault too?
It's not about me. It's not about what I think.
Todd, this is more about what you think than I think. You know ball, man. Wait, so why is a fumble not the same as a pick?
Because I think fumbles happen in weird ways. Like, I don't know how all of Jayden Daniels' fumbles happen, but, like I think of a sack fumble.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the quarterback losing the football, but it's primarily probably on the offensive tackle that gave up the block.
Okay.
It was coming from his blind side. He didn't see it. Like, yeah, he fumbled the ball, but what did you expect?
That's fair.
That's
fair. Maybe so more blame could be distributed on fumbles.
Yeah, but
instead of
whereas
just
the interception
quarterback.
is primarily like you put the ball somewhere you probably shouldn't have.
That's fair, except for Bo. He didn't do that with Will Jordan. So maybe I helped Bo out there putting all turnovers together. The passer rating and QBR, some people value that. Some people say, I don't know how the hell the stat's made, so I don't want to value it. But those do really favor Jayden Daniels, 99 passer rating compared to 89 passer rating for Jayden, 67 QBR to 53 QBR for Bo. So maybe you just throw those out if you don't believe in those numbers. And so far, everything's been pretty much the exact same. Sacks, 23 sacks for Jayden Daniels, 18 for Bo. Mm-hmm. That's, in my opinion, kind of similar to the completion percentage. Like that's maybe not a huge difference, but it's noticeable. Maybe it's not significant, but noticeable.
Yeah, it has a little bit more weight, but once again, that's something that, like, dissecting the film, is it Bo escaping pressure, or is it, the Washington Redskins O-line is just trash?
Yeah, that's very true. That's a good point. 44 rushing yards to 27, 16 yards per game. Is that game-changing? No, but would you like to have those 16 yards? Yeah, sure, of course, or 17 yards. So maybe just a slight edge to Jayden Daniels. And then Todd, 14 total touchdowns for Jayden, 19 for Bo. That's the biggest one. That's the most significant one of all of these stats, and that favors Bo. So in my mind, when I go through this, Bo has the one big thing that favors him, and it's the most important thing. It's scoring points on the board. Jayden has pretty much most of the other small ones. That's why, for me, it evens out. Man, this should be like a dead even race right now.
It should definitely be an even race, and I've heard a lot of people try to mention, like, his injury. I know he had a rib injury, and, they say he's not throwing the ball the way that he was early in the season, and that's unfortunate. But at the end of the day, you are playing. If you are out here playing football, putting all this on tape, whatever the results are, whatever the stats are, have to be counted the same as if you're 100% healthy, because you cannot talk about the ifs and buts of him being 100% healthy. He's playing. Bo Nix is playing. Whatever the stats are, that's what we have to judge.
Yeah, 100%. And it was interesting. Dan Quinn, his coach, talked about how he's not – the injury isn't bothering him, but he's not fully practicing every day, so that's impacting his growth. And it's like, okay, we're just coming up with excuses now, because I totally agree. You know who else is – kind of pulling the injury thing out right now? I just watched an interview with Russell Wilson with ESPN, and man, he just really keeps harping on the injury he had in his first season with the Broncos. He keeps pointing back to that and say, I had a torn lat. What could I do that season? Then last year I played really well. And it's like, interesting. And maybe the torn lat was a much bigger deal than we thought, because of the way he's playing now. Maybe we'll find out in the playoffs with a little Broncos Steelers right there. What's going on? Oh, wow. Holy cow. Holy cow. That last one. We had a bot in the comment section there. It's probably not a bot. Just maybe that's Henry in the chat joining on today.
That's crazy.
But Todd, why I wanted to break down the overall numbers is because this thing is clearly trending for Bo Nix to be the Rookie of the Year.
Yep.
And to run away with this award. Just like Jayden Daniels was running away with it at the beginning of the season, rightfully so. Bo Nix has made it close. I don't blame national people for maybe still giving a slight edge to Jayden, but they have to be talking about Bo now. Because in the last 4 games, and I made the case yesterday, Bo Nix has been playing at an MVP level.
Yep.
I think you understood what I was saying. Henry thought it was ridiculous. But let's not compare him to the MVPs of Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. In the last 4 games, the past month, Caleb Williams is averaging 175 passing yards per game. He has 0 touchdowns in the last 4 games of the season, or 4 games. Jayden Daniels is averaging 232 passing yards per game, so more than his average, and he has 4 touchdowns in that stretch. Bo Nix is averaging 257 passing yards per game, way more than his average, and he has 11 touchdowns. I mean, he is the Rookie of the Month for this past month, and if he just continues on this trajectory, he's going to win Rookie of the Year, and he's going to be like minus 5,000 in just a couple of weeks.
That's kind of like I feel like the league is always like, what have you done for me lately? But it does kind of make you think like Bo Nix has kind of went in the last month. He's probably had 8 touchdowns.
11.
11 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So Jayden Daniels was way out in front.
Yeah.
And then this month, credit to Bo Nix, he's really stepped up the way he's played. And really has closed the gap. So it's really about, what have you done for me lately? So I think it's very interesting because we look at the Broncos schedule and we have a couple easy games with bad defenses, but the Commanders play the Cowboys and then Titans, then the Saints. Like, he may have some opportunity to do something too. So I think it's going to be a neck and neck battle the rest of the way. And I think that Bo Nix will prevail, but I don't think it's a cakewalk.
Jayden Daniels has not thrown 3 touchdowns in a single game this season. He's thrown 2 touchdowns in 3 games this season. One of the games he threw 2 touchdowns. He also did have a rushing touchdown. So he's had 1 game of 3 total touchdowns this season. So while he's had the moment, the big moment in that Hail Mary, he hasn't really had... Well, he definitely hasn't had the 300 passing yard game with 4 touchdowns like Bo has. And if you just look in the past 4 games, Bo has 2 games where he's had 3 or more touchdowns in a game. Actually, he's had 2 games with 4 or more touchdowns because against Carolina, he had 3 passing touchdowns, 75% completion, 280 passing yards, and a rushing touchdown. And then, of course, last week, 4 touchdowns, 300 passing yards, 85% completion. So Bo has had that game. He just needs the moment. And I don't know if that moment can come against a 2-8 Browns team. Like leading a game-winning drive against the Browns on national TV would certainly help. But just the way people are really holding Bo back a little bit with the national narrative, I think they might say like, well, yeah, it was the 2-8 Browns. Congratulations. You took to the last second for you to beat them. But there's some games after the bye week. You get the Colts. Man, if the Colts win, and credit to them, they won a game I did not think they were going to win last week. That could be a big game, but still Colts outside looking into the playoffs. Bengals, he goes toe-to-toe with Joe Burrow, but they might just say, well, it's terrible defense over there. That Chargers game in week 16 could be it. Go toe-to-toe Justin Herbert, and maybe that's for second place in the AFC West, and maybe that's for the 5th wildcard spot instead of the 7th wildcard spot. Unfortunately, it might take that long for Bo to truly become the favorite in this race.
Yeah, you talked about Bo Nix needing a moment. I think he needs moments, like multiple. Because I think if he does something spectacular just one time, everybody's going to say, oh, well, Jayden Daniels already did that. So, maybe that makes him kind of neck and neck.
Right.
Well, I think he needs like maybe 2 more that's like, okay, Bo Nix is really outplaying Jayden Daniels and outplaying the rest of the rookies in his class. So he needs a couple of big moments, and it could be against Joe Burrow. It could be against the Chargers. Like, I think he has to have a couple games where they're really eye-opening for everybody to finally take notice. Yep,
exactly. And the way that he can just run away with this before then is if he goes out and does something similar to this past game in these next two games.
Yeah,
against,
that would be crazy.
I mean, this was against 6-5 Atlanta Falcons, 6-4 at the time. If he goes out and goes 6 touchdowns over these next two games, 1 interception, 75% completion, okay, then he's probably the favorite come the bye week, because then he's truly playing at an MVP level for 6 weeks at that point. So forget rookie of the year. He would be running away with that. Todd, we talk about the turnovers too. You mentioned how his last turnover was against the Ravens on a pass that maybe should have been caught. He against the Chiefs was the first quarterback to not have what Pro Football Focus considers a turnover-worthy play. So sometimes interceptions are thrown and it's not the quarterback's fault. So what PFF does with this stat is they would take that away. They would take that turnover away from Bo. Sometimes there are fumbles that are recovered by your own team, but the quarterback just dropped the ball and that should have been a turnover. They say, okay, even though it wasn't a turnover, that should have been a turnover. That's on you. We're counting that as a turnover-worthy play. He was the first quarterback to not have a turnover-worthy play against that great Chiefs defense. And what was that, week 10 of the season?
Yep.
Then this past week, he had 0 turnover-worthy plays against the Falcons as well. So not only is he not turning the ball over, he's just simply not putting the ball in harm's way. And it goes back to something that Sean Payton has said for about a month or two now. When Bo Nix is on the field, Sean Payton just feels a peace, because he does not think that the ball is going to be in harm's way. And that has proven out on the stat sheet, with the eye test, everywhere.
A lot of young quarterbacks, they try to force the football. Like, they're trying to show their arm. They're trying to make tough throws. They're trying to make plays, and they end up putting it in harm's way and throwing a lot of interceptions and just making bad plays. But I don't feel like I see that from Bo. You know, if it's there, he's going to throw it quickly, get it into the hands of his receivers. Also, I think the coaching staff is doing a great job of setting up plays that work well for Bo, whether they're screens, quick passes. Like, they're definitely utilizing what he does best. But just in his ability to say, okay, it's not there, I'm going to scramble, I'm going to get 5, I'm going to go down. Like, he's very, very smart in that regard. He's not forcing the football. If it's there, he's going to take it. If it's not there, he's going to use his legs and live to see another down.
Yep, 100%. Okay, so let's take a bigger look at the league right now. Broncos had a big win that we've broken down for 2 days now. Let's see where they stand with the rest of the league, and get into that Bengals-Chargers game. Did the outcome we want happen? But before we do that, got to get a shout out to our friends over at Game Time, where I mentioned earlier, we will know later today when the Broncos play in 2 weeks. Is it Monday Night Football as it's slated to be at home, or will it be flexed to Sunday? After you find that out, you might want to go buy tickets over at Game Time, because Game Time's the best place. Their interface is the best, whether you're online, whether you're on their mobile app. You're here showing you what it looks like right now. And then you get to see where exactly what the view from your seats will look like, which is awesome. They've got the Game Time guarantee as well. Game Time is by far the best place to buy tickets. I love the all-in pricing. Shows you exactly how much you're going to pay with fees included. And another awesome thing about Game Time is they're going to give you $20 off your first purchase when you download the app, create an account, and then use that code DNVR when you sign up. You're going to get $20 off your first purchase. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Terms apply. Use that code DNVR when you sign up. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
Game time.
Boom.
And I got to tell you guys about our friends over at Circle K. You know, I drive an electric car, so I don't need gas anymore, but I enjoy snacks at the gas station. And my favorite station to stop at is Circle K. They have all the snacks that you could want or need, and I definitely grab a few. I like chips. I like candy. I'm not a big chocolate guy, but like sweets as far as like gummies, gummy bears, things like that. Circle K will definitely have you covered. And Circle K is proud to be along for the ride on our Buff Stampede. You know those guys lift snacks.
Oh, yeah.
You know they're definitely killing Circle K's from here to Texas whenever they travel. So
you don't want to be behind them.
No.
At a Circle K stop. You're not going to get any snacks.
They're filling up the tank, so there's no gas left, and they're getting all the snacks too. It's a free membership. It's easy to download. You can enter your email and phone number to be fully enrolled. After that, all you need is your phone number to get the deals. Deals every day on food, drinks, and more. You can sign up for Inner Circle with Circle K app and receive 25 cents off per gallon on your next 5 fill-ups. You can download the Circle K app and sign up for the Inner Circle for exclusive offers. New offers, purchase clubs, and sweepstakes are uploaded weekly.
Shout out to our presenting sponsor, Bet365. Use that code DNVR365 when you sign up. Todd, some news coming down during our show today. The Jets have fired general manager Joe Douglas. They fired Robert Saleh last month. So now Aaron Rodgers is their quarterback, their head coach, and their general manager.
It's just not working out. I don't know. Well, I mean, the team wasn't very good before Aaron Rodgers got there, but I don't know if he's came and put a positive spin on things either. So
yeah,
they have a lot of issues. They're trying to figure it out. And sometimes when you just start firing people, you start firing the wrong people, but you don't know until all the smoke clears.
Yep.
You know who should have been fired. So we'll see.
Like what, the interim head coach I think is now 1-3. And the Jets defense has performed a lot worse since they fired Saleh.
Yep.
And they're just clearly in shambles. And it's going to be interesting to see after, they're 3-7 right now. If they finish 5-12, does Aaron Rodgers come back? Does he retire on this awful note? Or do they just try to rebuild it again with a new coach and general manager? Or it's just Aaron Rodgers doing all of that?
I don't know, man. I don't know. But if I'm Devontae Adams, I know you didn't bring me all the way out here to lose and you're just going to go home.
That's true.
You better figure it out.
That is a very good point. I was surprised to see this. Garrett Wilson leads the NFL in receptions and in targets. That's just shocking to me that they still wanted to bring Devontae Adams over that much, even though Aaron clearly has a number one receiver.
Well, I think Aaron just wanted him. And they weren't getting good performances from their number 2 and number 3 receivers.
That's true.
That's why they went and traded for the guy's name, but they went and traded him. So they needed more help and more firepower. And Aaron got his way.
Seabass in the Toyota chat is saying reporters like Diana Rossini and Jacina Anderson are saying there's a lot more to this story. Huh.
A little scandeezy.
Yeah, that's kind of what it seems like. Okay, so let's take a look at this awesome graphic you hear made for us. And we're going to start doing these check-ins every Tuesday of just where things stand after the week of football is over and after Monday Night Football has wrapped up. So if you're watching on YouTube or on your TV anywhere, you will get to see this awesome graphic. If you're not, I'll read it to you. It's the AFC playoff picture right now. Even with their loss, the Chiefs are still the number 1 seed at 9-1. Bills right behind them. They own the tiebreaker over the Chiefs at 9-2. Then you have the Steelers at the 3rd seed at 8-2 after their win over the Ravens. It's insane, Todd, how the Steelers and Mike Tomlin just own the Ravens. There's something like 1-8 in their last 9 games against them. And obviously, the Ravens are a hell of a team and have been for a long time.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin, shout out to him. Probably going to be coach of the year this year. Just a talented coach. He knows how to get the best out of his players and definitely knows how to beat the Ravens.
Yeah, all nice compliments, but Todd, your actions showed you didn't want to play for Mike Tomlin. You said, no, I'm not taking that deal in Pittsburgh. I'm staying in Denver.
Well, I didn't want to be in the cold. That was the big thing. I didn't want to move my whole family. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, that too. I do love Denver. Shout out to Denver for sure.
It is 39 degrees as a high today. You okay?
Yeah, but this is different.
Right.
Pittsburgh cold is exactly where it bites. 30, I mean, I got on my golf jacket.
Yeah.
I'm not even bundled up.
That's a pretty nice golf jacket,
Thank
too. You got
know
the Broncos logo.
Shout out to the Broncos, man. That's why, you know what I'm saying?
You didn't have to pay for it, did you?
I did.
Oh, you did? Wow.
I did. No, I didn't get it at the Broncos facility. So
okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. Sometimes it's easier to just buy it when you see it.
Yeah, and it was just a cold day. I was about to play a round of golf. I was looking for a little windbreaker jacket, and I was going through what they had, and they had a Bronco. I'm like, wow, give me that one.
Boom, there you go.
So.
Okay, the 4 seed. So Pittsburgh's there at the 3 seed as 8-2. The 4 seed is, of course, the final division leader right now, and that is the Houston Texans at 7-4. That game last night, that I feel bad if the Broncos do stay on Monday Night Football. It's great for Bo Nix to get that exposure. It's great for the Broncos team to get to play on Monday night. Players always say they love playing on national TV, get the spotlight. Then also maybe you get to watch some games on Sunday. Did you always like playing on national TV?
Yeah, there's nothing better than that. I mean, you know, the whole world is watching, your family's watching. Like, if you make a play here, it really means something. And a lot of the times, like, people aren't watching around the league. Like,
yeah,
people are so not familiar with what's going on different teams. Like, I'm sure there's some player right now in Buffalo that I'm not familiar with that's having an incredible season.
Right.
You know, just because I haven't tuned into their games.
Yep.
So these nationally televised games is where you get to go and, you know, show the world what you've been doing.
Yeah, and the Broncos have only had one so far. So maybe those people in Buffalo have no idea what Bo Nix is doing out here. They just
And those are the people we need to support them.
Exactly. Yes, 100%. So my point was, I feel bad for the country though. Like, I think last week's Monday night game was a stinker. Yeah, it was the Rams playing someone else not very good. The Dolphins. I mean, it was two teams with losing records. Last night, come on, we knew what was going to happen there. The Cowboys have lost 6 straight games at home by 20 or more points. It's the longest streak in the NFL history of that. And they're bringing out Cooper Rush. And, I mean, I watch 99% of primetime football games. I had that one in the background and wasn't really watching because it was just such a bad game.
It was a bad game, but I don't feel bad. You know, somebody's getting paid millions of dollars to put those games together. I mean,
no, I feel bad for us, for the viewers.
I mean, it is what it is. You either watch or you don't.
Yeah, it's true, and most people will.
But
watch
because
NFL
they've been
football.
bad, they shouldn't flex the Broncos. Like, it's not, I mean, we have been putting together good games anyway. Just let the Broncos stay on Monday Night Football, right?
Yeah, and I think that's what will happen. But again, we'll know later today. So those are the division leaders right now, and that was a big win for Houston to kind of start pulling away with their division. And then the wild card, how it stands right now with the 5th seed, you're actually looking at the Chargers at 7-3. I want to get back to that game in just a second. Then with the 6th seed, you got the Ravens at 7-4, and then you've got the Broncos rounding out the wild card, the final wild card spot after Week 11. The Denver Broncos are in the playoff picture, and it's not due to a tiebreak or anything. They have a game lead on the Colts, who are at 5-6, a 2-game lead or a game and a half lead on the Dolphins, who are at 4-6, a 2-game lead on the Bengals at 4-7. And Yahir was nice enough to include the Jets here at 3-8. That means they've got a 3-game lead on the Jets, who just fired their general manager. And I also love this. The percentages to make the playoffs. Chiefs 99%, Bills 99%, Steelers 98%, Texans 98%, Chargers 90%, the Ravens 94%. And the Broncos. Todd, for the first time this season, and probably for the first time since 2016 at some point in that season, the Denver Broncos are favored to make the playoffs. They were on the outside looking in last week. Now they are favored to make the playoffs at 68%.
I mean, that's almost a passing grade. Like, 68%, that's when you just go talk to your professor at the end of the year, like, man, you know, I worked hard. Is there anything you can do to get me up to that 70? Like, I mean, we're right there. We definitely can find a way to get into the playoffs.
And the one person that might not work on is Sean Payton talking to Roger Goodell. That might be the one instance they're like, no, you didn't show up to class that one day.
But the thing is, it's like, they still got time, right? So it's it's a 68 and your finals coming up.
For sure.
And it's like, now you just gotta just get a C- at most, and then you get your A and you get in.
And then you don't even need the teacher. You can just do it yourself.
And remember, the Broncos were, I think, tied with the Patriots for the second longest odds to make the playoffs before the season started. Only the Panthers had worse odds to make the playoffs. So you went from a 0% in your class because you did not show up that first week. Yep. Now you're up to 68%. You're feeling great about the way this is trending.
Yeah, you're doing pretty good.
So let's break down. Is it still the Bengals? Because all three of us last week agree that the Bengals were still the Broncos' biggest competition to make the playoffs. Is that still the case? And then I also want to get into this Bengals and Chargers game. Did the right team win? Because I have a very strong opinion on this. And before we get into that, I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Bird Call, where I told you guys about Bird Call last week. I had it again recently, and man, it is so good. The sandwiches they have aren't just delicious ingredients. They are delicious flavors, and they're putting coleslaw with their sandwiches. They've got awesome sauces. The buns are really good, and the chicken is like the highest quality. You hear loves Bird Call's buns. And Nashville Hot, you can even do Nashville Extra Hot over at Bird Call, and right now they've got Bird in a Box, which is made to order and brings premium quality at a killer price. For $9.95, you get your own Bird in a Box with your choice of 2 crispy sliders or 1 slider and 2 tenders, plus tots and fries, pickles, and one of their signature sauces. If you like it spicy, you can get that Nashville Hot Chicken Tender. So make sure to check out our friends over at Bird Call and use the code DNVR, where you can get 20% off Bird Call with the code DNVR. Go to eatbirdcall.com to check them out and use that offer. Offer valid for offers of for orders of $10 or more. Limit 1 per guest. Not valid on catering orders or third-party delivery sites.
A shout out to Premier Members Credit Union. They are a financial institution based right here in Colorado. With PMCU, you get local branches, friendly tellers, and the tools you need to save smarter, like a reverse tier money market. Whatever your goals, they can help. PMCU is all about creating a better banking experience for their community. So why not see what they can do for you? Check out becomepremier.com to learn more now.
And shout out to Bet365, our presenting sponsor. To be fair, Stephen B in the Toyota chat said Ravens and Chargers next Monday should be a classic. Yeah, that is one that might break some records, because we just talked about it. They're the two teams fighting for that top wild card spot right now. And maybe with the Chargers win, man, Todd, this is heartbreaking. But if the kick goes in against the Chiefs, Bo Nix has his Rookie of the Year moment, and then we're looking at an 8-2 Chiefs team.
Yep.
We're looking at a 7-4 Broncos team. Broncos only 1.5 game back of the Chiefs with 1 more game to go in Denver, and the Broncos would have the tiebreaker on the Chiefs currently. This whole conversation, I mean, now I feel really good about the Broncos making the playoffs.
Yeah.
But maybe we're talking about, like, holy cow, this is a 3-way race with the Chargers, Chiefs, and Broncos for the AFC West title.
I mean, we're 1 play away from that conversation, but fortunately you can't go back, remake history. It is what it is. Yep. It happened.
Yep.
But we are still in a good place, and we still control our own destiny. And, doesn't matter where you get in.
Yeah.
All you got to do is get in.
Yep, it's very true. And so that Chargers-Bengals game, that was a Sunday night game.
Yep.
That was electric. The Chargers are running away with the game in the first half. Justin Herbert looks unstoppable. He had, like, the exact same first half that Bo Nix had, where it was, like, 2 incompletions, 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
Justin was looking great. They ran away with, I think they were up 27-6. And then the Chargers do what they do best. They chargered the lead away.
Yep.
Game's tied 27-27. And the final couple minutes of the game were absolutely electric. Joe Burrow drives down the field. Then Justin Herbert drives down the field. There was a game-winning field goal that was missed. Then the Chargers score a touchdown with, like, maybe too much time left. And then the Bengals almost tie it up. Chargers end up winning that game. Is that the outcome the Broncos wanted?
It's not the outcome I wanted, but I guess it just keeps, when you talk about that playoff picture that Yahir has, it kind of keeps the Bengals at bay, because, I mean, they play really good teams. They've been playing them tough. They lost to the Ravens in a very close game. They lost to the Chargers in a very close game. Like, those teams are both ahead of us right now, and those are 2 games that the Bengals could have won, so they would be in a much different position right now. And in my opinion, they're the best team that we would have to look out for. Like, Colts are solid, but, as far as a team that could actually beat the Broncos, I think if the Bengals have just an okay defensive night, like, they're a really talented team.
Yeah. The Bengals right now have the 5th worst defense in the NFL, giving up 26.9 points per game. They have the 6th best offense in the NFL, scoring 27 points per game. So they are 0.1 points per game different in terms of their offense and their defense, and their offense is doing everything they can to win games right now. And so, Todd, the way I view this is take away the Chargers' name and the fact that they're part of the AFC West. The Broncos 100% would have wanted the Chargers to win that game because the Chargers are pretty much running away with a playoff spot right now. Now they're at 90%, as you hear showed on that graphic. And the Bengals are trying to get the Broncos for that final wild card spot. So you would have just said, let the Chargers win, let them run away with the playoff spot to eliminate the Bengals in the playoff race right now. Oh, you almost fried our computer, not just the YouTube stream. So from a Broncos perspective, you wanted the Bengals just simply to lose. Now you put in the fact that it's the Chargers and that they're in the AFC West. I get it feeling wrong to root for them, but the Broncos' best interest is without a doubt the Bengals losing that game. So I do think the right thing happened there. And this is like, would you accept your enemy succeeding if it meant you were going to succeed?
No.
No? You wouldn't take your own success?
Maybe. But I get what you're saying. I just, they're the Chargers, man. I don't know how did this happen? They were 5-12 last year. They're 7-3 right now. Like, it's crazy.
You know how it happened? The same way it's happening in Denver. Coaching matters.
Coaching absolutely matters.
It really matters. And Sean Payton has done something that no one expected, to take the 6th quarterback, make him into potentially the rookie of the year, and then make this team a playoff team. 5.5 wins, Todd. In 11 weeks of the season, the Broncos have already hit their over in Vegas right now. And there's still 6 games to go to add to that. And unfortunately, Jim Harbaugh's a heck of a coach. And what he's done to turn that team around has been really good. Bo Nix, since week 3. Yeah, since week 3. Bo Nix has the 3rd best touchdown to interception ratio in the NFL. I think it's behind Lamar Jackson, slightly behind Lamar Jackson. Bo's at 7-1. Lamar Jackson, I think, is at like 7.5 or 8-1. Justin Herbert is number 1 in the NFL. Since week 3, touchdown to interception ratio. Can you guess what his touchdown to interception ratio is?
10-1.
10-1. There is not a touchdown to interception ratio.
Oh, wow.
It's like a line in the stat sheet because he has not thrown an interception. It's just how good he's playing right now.
AFC West is going to be tough for a long time. You got Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, Harbaugh and Herbert. You got Payton and Bo Nix.
Yep.
And now the Raiders are sucking for Shador.
Yeah, I know.
It's going to be a long, long couple of years.
The best thing is for the Raiders to finish number 2 or the 2nd worst team and just be out of the reach of Shador because Carson Beck, boy, has he absolutely tanked
it's
this
been bad.
season. He has like multiple interception games in like 4 of the past 5 games or something with Georgia.
Yeah.
He is falling apart. It really seems like this might be a 1 quarterback class. I love Jalen Milroe, but I know a lot of people don't feel that way. So that'd be great if the Raiders are awful and just can't get Shador.
Yeah. They don't need Shador. They don't need Shador and Brock Bowers.
Oh, yeah, that would be bad.
No.
Otherwise, we're looking at Mahomes, Herbert, Bo Nix, Shador. That would be wild.
Yeah. And does Deion come with them?
In
Why
Vegas?
not? What else?
Like,
what else you have to do?
If it's ever going to happen.
Yeah, but he's been coaching his sons this whole time.
Man, in Vegas, especially Tom Brady's now kind of running that organization. Tom and Deion have a fantastic relationship. Obviously, Tom and Shador have a great relationship as well. That would be wild.
That would be crazy.
I would just be concerned for our Buffs guys about how their mental state would be after just absolutely loving Deion and Shador, rightfully so, over these past few years than wearing the black and silver. I brought it up last week when RK was on the show, and he didn't want to talk about it. He just said, let's move on. I was like, whoa, okay. He does feel the pressure. So, Todd, let's look at this graphic one more time. Broncos have a 68% chance to make the playoffs right now. Colts at, 30%. The Dolphins at 9%. Bengals at 9%. And then the Jets at 2%. Colts now have a 30% chance to make the playoffs, where the Bengals are only at 9%, right there with the Dolphins. Do the Bengals still give you the biggest concern to make the playoffs?
Yeah, they're just a better team. They're a better team, but I mean, all these are failing grades. All these guys are, have to repeat. They're getting held back. No, so I'm not like scared of anybody.
Yeah.
But I still think the Bengals are the best team out of that group. And the Dolphins, I mean, they're finding ways to, they're getting better with Tua back, but Bengals are still the team.
Oh, that was it. Bo's tied with Tua for the best touchdown to interception ratio since week 3. Obviously Tua didn't play in all of those games.
That doesn't even count. He can't even be tied.
Well, so I think Bo has 14 touchdowns to 2 interceptions in that time period, and Tua has 7 touchdowns to 1 interception. So the ratio is 7 touchdowns. But to be fair to you, if it's tied, the tie goes to the guy that just has double the number of touchdowns there.
For sure.
So you're right. Tua is playing well, but 2 games back of the Broncos right now. But with where the Bengals are right now, if they lose one more game, they're done. Mm-hmm. They're done. And with how bad their defense is, they have to play the Steelers after their bye week. They have to play the Steelers twice. But they also have the Cowboys, the Titans, and the Browns. They should win all 3 of those games. If they're able to beat the Steelers the week after their bye week, that game's at home. They're going to beat the Cowboys. They're going to beat the Titans. They're going to beat the Browns. Week 17, Broncos, Bengals. That could be for that playoff spot.
For everything.
Gosh, so Todd, looking at this, as crazy as it is, even though they're 4-7, I'm still going to say the team that has an MVP quarterback in Joe Burrow is still the biggest threat to the Broncos because of the way the schedule shakes out. So we'll be pulling for Russell Wilson to win in 2 weeks, I think, in order for the Bengals just to be completely eliminated. If they get that 8th loss, the best they can be is 9-8, and the Broncos will be better than that. So that's a huge game, or else we're looking at Week 17 meaning everything for the Broncos.
It's going to be a big game. No matter what, I feel like it's going to be a big game. So, we better come ready to play.
Man, it's going to be exciting. They got that game, which is going to be huge. And then the Broncos also have the Chargers the week before and Week 16. Now, if the Chiefs are able to hold on to the division, this game could be for who has better wild card standing. And when we look at that right now, Buffalo, the Broncos are going into Buffalo in the first week of the wild card. That's a tough place to play with the weather, the way it could be. That could be really tough. Instead of, who's the 4th seed you hear? Right now it's the Texans.
Yeah.
So you either go into Buffalo if you're the 7th seed right now, or if you're the 5th seed, if you get that top wild card spot, you're going into Houston. Come on, to me, that's so easy.
It's indoors.
Yeah.
Nice and toasty.
Yes. Yeah. Give me that, where CJ Stroud has more interceptions this year than he did all of last year, and there's still 6 games left to play. All right, we got a super chat that I want to hit before we get out of here. And if you are still rocking and rolling with us on YouTube, we really appreciate it. Hit us with a thumbs up, really helps us. And the stream's not working because of YouTube, not because of us.
It's back now.
Oh, it's back. Let's go.
They came back 3 minutes before the show ended.
Oh, perfect timing. Well, you can probably rewatch this, I would imagine. You can start over from the beginning and rewatch this as well. So we appreciate you guys rocking and rolling with YouTube's issues today. If you support us, hit us with a thumbs up. We really appreciate it. And let's get to this super chat from our friend. We got 2 super chats rocking and rolling. And the first one is from Stephen B., who says, Bo would be leading rookie of the year if that kick wasn't blocked.
It'd be close. I think Jayden would still have him by, a smidge, but I think they would be neck and neck.
Yep, I definitely think they'd be neck and neck. And also, the one other thing I didn't add in the blind ranking of these two is the record, because I would have given it away. Jayden Daniels is 7-4, Bo Nix 6-5, so a slight little edge to Jayden Daniels there. But obviously, it's a team game. But quarterback wins are a stat, where linebacker wins aren't a stat. People pay attention to that more. And if that kick wasn't blocked, Broncos are 7-4 as well, right next to Jayden Daniels. Stephen B says, rocking and rolling, baby. Let's both. Stephen B dropped that right when the YouTube chat popped up again, or right when the YouTube stream popped up again. Thank you, Stephen, for rolling with us with a big super chat as well. We thank you for that, and we thank everyone for joining us today. We're going to have Baldy on tomorrow. And Todd, this past game from a non-football player was pretty much perfect.
Yep.
As perfect as it could be. How do the Broncos get better? How do they build on that performance? That's what I want to talk about with our guy Brian Baldinger tomorrow. Ready. You're ready. Now you get to some more time to think about it, and we'll dive into that conversation tomorrow. Thank you all so much for rolling with us and dealing with YouTube's issues. We'll see you at 10 a.m. tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.